Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sam, United People's TV. Welcome to another morning news show. We're going to be running through the latest, as always, United news. We're going to speak about Sir David Beckham. We'll speak about Gary Neville being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And also, there's a lot of talking points today. A massive interview just went out. I say massive. It's a bloody hour long. A new podcast launched by United inside Carrington, and Jason Wilcox is the first person sitting on the sofa. I haven't been able to listen to the whole podcast, but I've pulled out some key points. I think I'll probably do a full reaction to it for the lunchtime video today. We'll also speak about Cristian Orozco playing in the U17s World Cup. Elliot Anderson, Andy Mitten's comments on him. We'll speak about Jadon Sancho. Briefly. We'll speak about Diogo Dalot and Ruben Amorim. Something I was actually going to mention in the live show last week, but I decided not to. Probably should have mentioned it. And as always, you'll let me know what you think in the comments below. It's going to be a busy show. There's a lot of talking points. I've got a lot of tabs open. Let's enjoy the show. Phil, you're a big fan of the jacket. Well, there's a zip. Zip's getting a bit sticky. Bit annoying. But let me see who's here from the mods and the members. I have seen the Ronaldo interview. Truth be told, I don't really care what Ronaldo says. That's just my own opinion. I don't. Stephanie, good morning to you. And good morning to you. Who else is here? Carl, you're there as well. Josh, you'll be there, no doubt, in the comments. Who's here from the member gang? We've got John, we've got Richard, we've got Liam, Teresa, we've got Rob, and some non-members too. We've got Tig B, we've got Z Navid, we've got Keith Thomas, Christopher Favor, and we've got Tom Cruise, the actual Tom Cruise. Very nice. Very, very nice. Right. Shall we get on with today's show? As I said, it's going to be a busy one. Please do, if you're new here in town, make sure you get involved in the comments, all right? I do try and involve the chat as much as I possibly can. The amount of comments do fly in. I can't answer everybody's, but I do try and make it as interactive as I possibly can. Now, I want to start off today's show by saying a big congratulations to not David Beckham, but Sir David Beckham. Move that over there. That's a little bit more central. Bit of a long time coming, this. Don't really know why it took so long. But David Beckham, how many Sirs have we got at the club now? Matt Busby. Fergie. Beckham. What other Sirs have there been at United? I'm probably forgetting some. I mean, I must be forgetting some. It's definitely more than 3. Bane watching from South Africa. Good morning to you, dude. Well, yeah, so David Beckham. I'll tell you what we've got coming soon. We've been working on this in the background. Should I show you this? Imagine, yeah, I might do. Because this is cool. Oh, Bobby Charlton, of course. Damn. It's bad, isn't it? Slap on the wrist for me there. Where is it? You know, we've been working on the new posters. We're working on the posters for a long time. Wanted to relaunch the merch, like 2.0, and we're going to be focusing on posters. This is the David Beckham one, which I think is class. And you'll see that we may have updated it towards the bottom. There have been many, many different faces of David Beckham as a United player, every single bloody type of haircut as well. And he looked good with every single one of them. But this is just a little bit of a glimpse of each poster is going to be very, very individual, very unique. And yeah, that's the David Beckham one. So that's a little glimpse to everybody. That's going to be coming out. We're kind of hoping to launch at some point in mid-November, I think. But there's one for David Beckham. There's one for, Roy Keane. We've got, what other ones we've got made so far? Let me have a quick look back through here and I'll tell you the ones. We've got Keane. We've got Beckham. We've got a Ronaldo one. We've got a Rooney one. We've got a Cantona one. Oh yeah, we've got some crackers coming. Some crackers. Yeah, random. And yeah, as much as I don't particularly enjoy what Gary Neville's got to say as a pundit these days, he should have been inducted into the Hall of Fame earlier. And I absolutely stand by everything that I said in the video I did a good long time ago. Remember, it was at Micah Richards. Of course, you think so in jest, saying that he was better than Gary Neville, but it was a video defending Gary Neville's legacy as a player. We will have a Fergie poster. We will have a Scholes poster. All right? And we will not have a Sancho poster. Richard saying that you once met Beckham. Man, I'll be starstruck. Random question here. What United player or manager, I suppose a lot of you are going to say Fergie here, so no managers. What United player would you be starstruck if you met? I don't know what I would say, I think, if I met Cantona. I think I'd definitely be starstruck if I met Beckham. I remember when I met the full squad in 2015? 2016? Can't remember what it was. I don't know how I got it. I was at the training ground. Met the whole squad. Met Rooney, met Mata, met Smalling. Matic, was he there at that time? Don't think he was. Met Van Gaal. Funny dude. Quite a few of you saying Cantona down there. Some of you are saying Ibra. I reckon Ibra's quite an intimidating person to meet. Luke Chadwick. Did Luke Chadwick open like a cafe like down in the south of England somewhere at some point? Liam, you're saying Schmeichel. MK, you're saying Mbumo. I don't really think I think Mbumo would be a pretty cool person to meet, really. Keane. I really wouldn't know what to say if I met Keane. Because anything I would say to Keane, he'd just look at you going, what have you been such an idiot for? That's what I think. Right, let's run through this. Loz saying, none, they're all human just like us. Yeah, all right. You're better than most of us then, because I'd definitely be starstruck with a couple of them. So, Champions League last night. Obviously, United not involved. Any fixtures that we should be taking a look at? Well, there's obviously one standout one. Napoli drew. Arsenal won. Bayern beat PSG. Liverpool beat Madrid. That's a shame. Two things I want to say. Number one, this is mighty impressive. Right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 clean sheets in a row for Arsenal. That's the sort of thing that does win you leagues. It really does. People might be dismissive of how Arsenal are playing at the moment, dismissive of the fact that they're so reliant on set pieces, but you're seeing a different Arsenal so far this season. And it's working for them. I suppose you're not seeing too different in Arsenal this season because they were doing it quite a lot last season, but they've become rather good at it. Yeah, you could say lots of home games if you want. You can try and downplay it if you want, but it's really quite impressive, unfortunately. And of course, the other game last night that we should be taking a look at was Spurs. Booed off at home against Chelsea. They have been woeful at home in the league. But they spanked Copenhagen last night. And they had 10 men towards the end as well. Did you see that Van de Ven goal? That gave me PTSD. Who was it? Was it Brennan Johnson? You know when Van de Ven ran from his own half at Old Trafford in the first, 2-3 minutes? I swear we were playing, I was under Ten Hag when we had no midfield. He ran the whole way to the byline, fired across, and I think it was Brennan Johnson who knocked it into the back post. Yesterday, Van de Ven just ran from the edge of his own box. That was a filthy, filthy run. Hopefully he did his hamstring. That'd be nice. But yeah, Spurs winning 4-0 against Copenhagen in the build-up game to the match on Saturday. Real shame. Look good though. I'll probably watch the extended highlights a little bit later in the week. Just to see how they properly played. But that's going to be a bit of a morale-boosting win for them. Yeah, you could talk about Copenhagen not turning up. You can only beat what's in front of you. And a 4-0 win against Copenhagen in the Champions League at home after Chelsea is going to be putting Spurs, players and fans, in a better mood ahead of the United game. They're not going to be getting too carried away with it, but it's certainly better than losing. Now, anybody seen this? United released it this morning. I mean, they're loving the nostalgia stuff here. I mean, I'd definitely wear it. What would you say is better? The top, the jacket, or the hoodie? quite like the top, but I prefer the third kit from this season. Hoodie's basic. Nice. Probably go for the hoodie. Would I go for the track? Would I go for the track jacket? I'd probably go for the track jacket. Well, I'll probably buy one of them at some point. It's either hoodie or jacket, I think. Hoodie or jacket. Quite a few of you are saying hoodie. Trees, you're saying top. Someone's saying, I have no variation. Well, yeah. We nice to have a camper van. Anyone else like camping? I love camping. Must be awesome to have one of those like Meet the Fockers style. That's the ones you get in America because the roads are like 3 times wider than they are in the UK. That's an old school van. But anyway, bit random. That's that. Hoodie, says Mirko, the last one I'd wear. It's a little ugly. I'm pretty sure you can say it's ugly. I suppose it depends if you like the central designs of the badge and the crest, or whether you like it off to the side. Yeah, I'm not saying. I did not say caravans. All right, we've all been there. We've all done that. Where was I remember. No, it was mobile home. We all did that back in the day, didn't we? As kids. Well, I can't actually speak for all of you. Like holiday homes. Where did we go? I remember we drove to France once. Went to like Parc Asterix. Had like this wooden roller coaster. It was actually quite scary. And then went Pontins a few times. Anyway, Brian Abumo, of course. Yeah. A little bit random, but there's lots and lots of little bits of news and stuff that's come out this morning. So I'm covering it all before we dive into the main stories. We'll be speaking about Elliot Anderson next and then the Jason Wilcox interview. Brian Abumo was named United's Player of the Month for October, which he absolutely deserved. And we voted for him for the Premier League Player of the Month. Fingers crossed he gets that. I'd love Amorim to win Manager of the Month. But after the results I just showed you there from Arsenal's month, you kind of wouldn't be too surprised if he won it. We'll find out. But anyway, Mbumo won Player of the Month. Said, obviously I'm very happy with this. As I always say, I think it's teamwork. Lots of players would have deserved this as well as me. So I'm happy. Very humble person. Remember when Mbumo had his first interview at the club? And he said, when I come in, I'm probably going to be quite shy, quite reserved. But the more comfortable I am, the more sort of the personality will start to come out. And this is just a little funny one. It was just Mbumo explaining the celebration that Ahmad and Mbumo did. Remember when there's a video that came out of Amorim doing the same celebration, a little celebration. Well, actually, that little celebration. It's nice when you get good vibes at the club. Football's just a better place when you're winning games. Let's be totally honest. Mui's down there saying, I don't know if you're going to see this, but I can work with the community for free. Yesterday was a little bit of a random show, wasn't it? Because it ended up just being like a bit of a Q&A, me explaining things behind the scenes. I saw some comment yesterday that made me laugh so badly. It was sort of like the content that you do here, but everybody works hard. You don't have to tell people all the stuff you're doing behind the scenes. You just have to sort of deliver the content and graft it and just not say anything else. And I was like, my words, you don't understand what community means, do you? You don't understand the fact that people enjoy finding out about stuff behind the scenes, enjoy understanding the process and what goes on, and the amount of talk about really not understanding the community you're a part of. That comment cracked me up. But as for working for the community for free, it's not really kind of what I do. I like to give people something back for helping the community go forward. If you want to get involved and you have a skill set, reach out, sam@unitedpeoples.tv. I'll always involve people. I can't just involve people for the sake of it because they've got the enthusiasm. But if you've got a skill set that goes with it, then of course you will. Yeah. That's a really, really odd comment yesterday. It caught me off guard. So I thought I'd call it out. Right, let's move on. And I think it's fair to say that there is a lot of conversation going on about Elliot Anderson. We did the video covering his season so far in the build-up to the Forest game. And it's kind of like I explained to you before the match, of everybody I've looked at so far, he's been the one that's impressed me most this season. Now, there might be a slight delay on the Adam Wharton video. I was supposed to record it yesterday, but I got distracted for about another 4 hours doing other stuff. So I couldn't get it recorded. I'm going to record it today and get it across to the team. So that might not be ready for tomorrow. But that's going to be the third installment in this little midfield Premier League player series. Baleba being number 1, Anderson being number 2. Like Alex is saying, he's going to cost a lot of money. And I don't really know. I need to look into Forest's PSR numbers and see what's being reported. Because we've spoken about the numbers. We know full well that Forest are going to want more than 100 mil, which is it's just, I wouldn't say it's impossible. It all depends on the demand. Supply and demand. I don't need to tell you about that. But it kind of half dictates a price and the ability for a club to sort of take the piss. I could see United trying to go after him in January, but this is Andy Mitten on the latest Talk of the Devils. And just his comments there on Anderson, to quote Andy himself, saying he's choosing his words carefully. He's like, I think that United will go for 2 central midfielders probably in the summer. And he is the one who would be, to use Andy's words, well positioned at the moment for Manchester United. Now, I don't know whether that means well positioned for United, as in, right, United have got their list and he's right up there at the top of it, or whether Andy means that Elliot Anderson himself would feel well positioned to make that move up. But if you take your red-tinted specs off, right, why would Forest sell him in January? Unless it was for an outrageous amount of money. I think the only thing that would get him out of Forest in January is an offer that's too good to refuse, because as it stands, you'd be surprised if Elliot Anderson wasn't in the England World Cup squad. And you'd therefore be, so like, you've got Enzo Fernandez is going to be the most extreme example of this, but is a very good example of this. Players' values being inflated by World Cups. Like, he won the World Cup with Argentina, was named best young player at the tournament. How much was he signed for by Chelsea? Was it like 115 mil-ish? I can't remember what team he... Was it from River? I think it was from River. And they'd only signed him like the year before or something like that. Some mad profit they made on him. I imagine Forest will probably see the World Cup as another opportunity to add an extra 10, 20 mil onto the price tag of Elliot Anderson. They would want him to go there and shine with England, and therefore his stock rises. Neville, you're saying, do you think we'll still get 2 midfielders in the summer if we do loan Gallagher? Everything we've seen so far, and this is the correct thing, by the way. He signed from Benfica. Cool. Was it Benfica that signed him from some Argentinian? Yeah. Either way, it was. There's a Benfica. Look that random there. Benfica fan in the comment saying we bought him for under 20 million euros and sold him for 126 mil. So I was half right. I just forgot that he was at Benfica. What else are you saying down here? Oh yeah. Somebody asked about whether we signed Conor Gallagher. I think Jason Wilcox may have mentioned this already. And I believe Ruben Amorim might have as well, about the fact that United don't want anything for like short term. They only want long-term signings. So there won't be anybody that we bring in January, like just for the sake of a body. In the same way that we didn't sign Matthias Tell last January because we needed an attacker. And we did need an attacker, by the way. But the club decided not to, and therefore they weren't held up by having Matthias Tell on an obligation come the summer, and he might not be the exact person they're sort of coming forward. Fez saying, you're talking about my comments, Sam. As I said, this channel is better than that channel. Well, yeah, it caught me by surprise is all. Because I think actually opening the door and actually explaining to people the process that goes on behind the scenes is something that people, I think, enjoy. And it's the same thing in life. It's like if you live your life as an Instagram profile and you just see the photo there, you won't actually know the person who's behind it. You won't know what goes on behind it and the process behind it. And I think that's kind of, the process is half of the enjoyment and a lot of the work. Ant, you're saying, does Amorim's insistence on long-term signings suggest he's guaranteed his job? It sounds like it. Guarantees don't exist in football. I think what we've seen so far this season, and we can move on to this now actually, really, is we've seen a real confidence. Probably the best way to describe it is confidence. Ruben Amorim's got that confidence from within the club, from Jason Wilcox, from Omar Barada, from Jim Ratcliffe in terms of his future. And this here is Jason Wilcox sitting down in a new podcast called Inside Carrington, which I actually think it's a really good idea by the club. You'll know one that the big buzzword that I was excited about when the Ineos part takeover happened, and the first few weeks as well, was about the communication. Because communication is so important for fans of Manchester United. And I think it's refreshing to see our football director sit down. It might be in a sort of club environment, so maybe he's not getting pressed on certain questions that maybe the wider press otherwise would give him. But I still think it's good nonetheless. Now, what I'm going to do is run through a couple of the comments here. I'm going to, as I said, probably watch far more of the podcast, and we can have a conversation about that in a lunchtime video. But there's just a couple of grab points here that I want to speak about. And this is sort of a little clip. I can't play this any louder because the volume doesn't go any louder. But this is Jason Wilcox, a little clip that United have put out on Twitter.
We needed new energy, new ideas.
Can I make that any louder? Oh, look. Don't think I can really.
To push us forward. And I think, like I say, the pressure is a privilege to try and get Man United back to where it was many years ago is something that I just feel extremely lucky. And we've got to deliver now. We can't just keep talking about it. It's going to be people have to be patient, but we are going in the right direction, I feel. And, at the heart of it is our people. It's really important that we sort of, I have a saying, feel like a family, perform like a team. And if we can feel like a family and create this atmosphere where we are able to have honest conversations, we're able to give feedback, we're able to have new ideas, no one gets offended. This is the environment that we're trying to create.
Jason Wilcox speaking there. Yeah, I appreciate, Jam. I could use an amplifier, but the volume on absolutely everything is fine. It's just for some reason that particular clip, the volume is down. So it would nuke all the rest of my volumes. But Wilcox, right? There's some more quotes there, and you can read through those whilst I speak about him. I have felt still, like, even through the crap that we had at the start of the season, what's been going on since last season, at the very, very least, I trust. I trust in the fact that we've actually got people running the footballing side of Manchester United that actually want Manchester United to win titles again. Rather than the people making decisions, like just not giving a toss. Now, whether that actually proves, whether every decision proves to be correct and it all to fall in place and United to win the titles again, is a different kettle of fish. But at the very least, I genuinely do have belief that Wilcox has the right intentions at United. That's the wrong thing. Someone down there, absolutely pointless video. Cannot hear a thing. Pointless. Sorry, David. Go and have a go at United for that. Can't turn it any louder. I thought this was an interesting point here. Let me run through this pointless interview a bit more. And I've spoken about this quite a few times. Like, as I said, there was once a situation where we may have been able to get some access to work with the club this season. But that's been sort of pulled away. And it's because United are sort of closing those doors. United are making it a closed environment. And just this comment here from Jason Wilcox on sort of Carrington. If anyone comes to Carrington, if anyone is around Carrington, the first thing when they go away is it's nothing like it appears from the outside. And I really hope that's the case. Like, again, I know I'm repeating things here, but it's because it's important. Like, Carrington has to be a place where those players want to turn up. Wilcox was actually saying, like, it's a really good sign that if we've got a meeting call that's at 9:30 and you look at 8:30 in the car park and there's players turning up already, they're turning up ahead of it. It goes to show good intentions. And like, you might say, hold on, Sam, like who gives a toss about this, man? Seriously, all I want to see is United performing on the pitch. Yeah, I know you're right there, but these things impact that. They're all interconnected. And I do like to think that Carrington, as an environment, is probably a lot better as a place for the players to go. They want to go there. They want to use the facilities. They want to stay after training. They want to chill out in this. I don't know. They want to get a haircut there. They want to eat together there. Again, I know that I might look into these things probably more than your average United fan would. But I see it as pretty crucial. What else are you saying down here? Ruben saying, remember the pics of Carrington I sent you on Insta? I do remember those. Ant, saying Wilcox is very focused on attitude and mentality. That comes across quite a lot. He speaks about the signings that have been made as well. I thought this was quite an interesting point. Obviously, when United signed Selly-Lemons, it felt like United, I've been completely honest, I think if they had nailed their priorities, then they probably would have signed him earlier rather than waiting for Onana to have a stinker against Grimsby to sort of be the straw that broke the camel's back, which kind of felt a little bit like what United did this summer. It should have been Senny coming in earlier, but United, it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction to sign him. It was somebody who was on the radar because Tony Conn, goalkeeping scout, was putting his name forward saying, this is the lad. So it was an interesting one. Also spoke in quite a bit of depth about Mbumo, about Cunha. As I said, there's a lot more that I can cover in the lunchtime video today. Neville saying, any plans to do a video on Cristian Orozco? So we already did a video on Orozco when we signed him. It's kind of a really top level, all right? And I'll speak about him in a little bit. We're going to have a bit of follow-up video soon, but not quite yet. What else is he saying down here? Martinez was convinced he was coming on. Then we went for Lemons. I don't know who you're speaking about there. What you're talking about there, if I'm being completely honest. What else is he saying down there? Carrington looks great now. Work together, play together. Yeah. Either way, I just enjoy seeing my football director speak so confidently about the plans. I suppose it gives me a little bit more confidence in them. Honest question here, because I can see quite a few of you mentioning it. So I'll pull one up, but I'm really curious, right? Does anyone care what Ronaldo says about United these days? Do people care about what Ronaldo says on United? Because he had another interview with Piers Morgan. Joy. Let me go and watch all of that. Not. let's not forget that Ronaldo had that interview with Piers Morgan behind the scenes, behind the club's back. Right, let me try and pull up a quote. I don't think anything particularly new was said. There's a quote. There's part of a quote there. Let me just see. Let me just see down here. I'm genuinely curious. I don't know whether it's just me or not. Like whether I'm just. I don't know. Real recognise real. You're saying you don't particularly care. Toby, Mick, Phil, Wan, Mary. Most of you saying no. The rig, you're saying kinda. It's good. Majority of you saying no. And you're saying I think the attitude towards Ronnie has softened as everything he said first time has been proven to be right. Like, what did he say? What, that United was shit? That United had the wrong people, the wrong players? The thing I found really, really frustrating was when people were saying, oh, Ronaldo's calling the Glazers. What was it? Like Ronaldo was calling the Glazers out and he was right and everybody should listen to him. And anything that's now happening against them is because Ronaldo started it and he was the trailblazer with that. That cracked me up. Yeah, I don't know. Man, I loved him. I will never get to witness a better footballer play for Manchester United ever again. Anybody that was lucky enough to be old enough to remember that 06 to 09 Man United team, if you saw that team, like I know the 99 team won the treble. And I know that that still is the greatest achievement that this football club has had in a single season. But United between 06 and 09, it was a level above. Like, I know you're the best team in the world when you win the treble, but that team between 06 and 09 was just absolutely unstoppable, man. Properly unstoppable. And Ronaldo was the centerpiece of that. I could definitely do a little mini doc on that team. I do genuinely think it's right up there with the arguments for the best ever Premier League team that's existed. Then I could easily argue that as a United fan. Right. Let's move on. Speak about current players. So United's under-21s last night playing in the Football League Trophy. That's where they play senior teams and they got their first win at the group stage. They beat Notts County 2-0. And you can see the goal scorers there, Shea Lacey and Jacob Devaney. If you haven't seen that Jacob Devaney goal, go and watch it. It's kind of exactly like the Van der Ven one. Just like driving run the whole way through the team and a great finish. But also, Shea Lacey was on the score sheet. And Chido Obi got an assist. So that's good news. And also with bloody touch wood and all that, Sam. Don't curse him, Sam. Well done, Sam. You jinxed him. But it feels like Lacey's really having the sort of developmental season that I've been waiting for him to have. Like that anybody who's watched him has been waiting for him to have. He's not just doing it for the under-18s anymore. He's kind of burst through. He's doing it for the under-21s. He's scoring goals for the under-21s. He's training with United's first team on more than one occasion. And he's already trained with the first team for England under Thomas Tuchel because I think there was a couple of injuries and he got the opportunity to step up. He's having a really good season of development. That's all he needs to have at this age. Just progress, development. Could there be an opportunity for him to be part of a matchday squad when AFCON happens? I think there absolutely could, because we're going to need options down that right-hand side. And in terms of who actually starts in those games, you'll probably see Bruno play further forward, and you'll probably see Dalot play right wing back, realistically. But it's good to see him scoring goals, influencing matches, and developing this season. I'll be looking forward to it because he really is a hell of a talent. And Geez, I forgot. We've actually got a video prepared on the academy that we haven't released yet because the timing has not really felt right. But there's such a good, like, a few names are being mentioned down there. Lacey and Thwaites, the Fletcher twins, Cheeto, like even Devaney. Not really much is said about him. There's lots and lots of talent. And then you go a little bit further than that, you look at Sekou Kone, you look at Diego Leon, and you look at someone who's going to be joining in at some point soon. Cristian Orozco. So, as I said, we've already done a video on Orozco when we got the confirmation that we were signing him. So, with a little top-level profile. Who is he? Where are we signing him from? What position does he play? Got any characteristics? Yeah, right. We covered that. A video that I think I would like to do after the World Cup. So, the Under-17s World Cup is happening right now. And Cristian Orozco played for Colombia against Germany yesterday. The first game. Had a good game. I don't particularly think you really need, and I'll be totally honest. Like, I know how stats heavy looking at footballers and analysing footballers are. Yeah, and it's kind of just part of the modern game, but especially when you're like younger, I don't really think. But I suppose you can see how involved in the game he was by looking at these numbers. He wasn't just a passenger. He was somebody very much that the ball was going through. So I think what we'll probably do is after the World Cup, we will do a video on Cristian Orozco. How did he get on? How many games did he play? Any standout moments in those games? Did he develop? Did Colombia win the World? No, we'll find out towards the end. But we can do a video on that. I'm not sure how long the World Cup's going on for. Let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it's the same length of time as a senior. U17s. So I'm guessing it's a month long. Where is it? Qatar. Tickets are on sale now. It's always good. Scores and fixtures. I mean, when's the end? 27th of November. No. That's not the end. Bloody hell, mate. Give me a date. Under-17s World Cup. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, piss off. It's going to be a month. Can't be bothered. I'm probably looking in the wrong place. Anyway, let's move on. Let's speak about this. This man. Now, this shouldn't really come as too much of a surprise for you to hear it, but the suggestion is that Martinez could be joining up with the Argentinian national squad during the international break as a continued part of his development and rehab, which I actually think is a good thing. You'll remember that during the preseason, Martinez went. He joined up with Man United in USA so he could be, it wasn't as if that he was involved in full training on the pitch, but he was in and around the team. But he'll probably go and probably play some games. Who Argentina got? Can't remember. Either way, do I think we'll see Martinez in the squad against Spurs? I still don't particularly think that United just need to take any risk. Like, if you leave him out of the squad against Spurs, then you just give him another 2 full weeks to really, minimise the risk. It might only be a few % less of a risk, but we've got one chance with Martinez. And I really would rather just wait, if we can, because we've got a busy fixture period coming up in December. We've got 6 games in 30 days. He will get some games. And then we've got the FA Cup starting in January. Just leave it. But I think we're all on the same wavelength here. Like, ease him in. I think he has been eased in so far. Well, I'm saying that, like, we've spoken about ACL and MCL injuries quite a few times on here, and people who've had bad experiences. I remember I was looking back through the live show, when I was putting up the photos of the scars on his knee. There's quite a few people who were leaving comments about injuries that they have had. Is there another international break? Says Johnny. Yes. After we play Spurs on Saturday, there's another 2-week international break. And that's the third one. And then that's the end of it until March, I think, the next international break. And then from next season, if I'm correct, instead of there being... So right now, there's always been 3 international breaks. 1 in September, 1 in October, 1 in November. It's always bloody annoying. It just disrupts football. Adds huge gaps. From next season onwards, I think there's only 2. So I think there's 1 in September and then 1 in October, but the October one is longer. So instead of there being 3 international breaks, there's 1 normal length, second one is a bit longer, and then there's not a third. So it should be a little bit better. Alex saying you're still doing rehab from an MCL sprain. Jeez. Man, the back of my left knee, the ligaments are still whiffy. Absolutely whiffy. I was on a treadmill this morning. Mick, he's saying, hate that the Spurs games are 12:30 kickoff. We've got Palace away at 12 p.m. in like 3 weeks as well, don't we? Man, we've got some stinky kickoff times. You know what we've got in December? Was it 5 out of 6 games at 8 p.m. or later? Something like that. Mad. Anyway, I wouldn't say this is new news. This is just kind of repeated stories coming from the Daily Mail, coming from Chris Wheeler saying, look, Roma set to renew their interest in Xerxes. United don't really want to let him go. And anyway, I think Xerxes leaves. I personally think Xerxes leaves. I don't know whether Xerxes would hand in a transfer request. I don't think he'd push it as far as that. But I think Xerxes leaves. And I suppose is this new news? There was a point at the end of the window, the summer transfer window, where we were having conversations about a story that came out that suggested United were willing to renew Sancho's contract to make sure that he wouldn't leave as a free transfer. Now, the overwhelming majority of us were like, mate, give over. No chance. Gone. Vamos. Leave. And then you thought, well, maybe the United would do that as a sort of punishment for Sancho, saying, well, you want to wait until you're a free agent? We'll delay it by another year. On paper, I like the idea of that, but I don't want United to be liable for another £200,000 of whatever it is a week for Sancho. Never want to see him near the club again. Is he even playing for Villa? I'd love to speak to some Villa fans. I bet you they feel the exact same as him. Well, exact same as we do about him. Richard, man, good morning to you, dude. You just gifted 20 memberships. One absolute don. Thank you so much, man. To Andy, you've got one. James, Ching, we've got AKX, got Tweety Monkey. It's an interesting username. Jermaine, you've got one as well. Everyone say thank you to Rich and make sure you all join the Discord. I think we are just about to hit 10,000 members. You know how cool that is? And again, really bloody annoys me. I want to be able to do a proper giveaway. But we need to get that community manager in, all right? I did see, Glenn, that he got subbed on and then got subbed off. Shame. No one likes to see that. Absolutely no one likes to see that. Now, I've got to randomly pull this up and ask you, why do you think I'm going to be speaking about Delo and Amorim here? And I promise you, I had this pulled up at the end of a show. I think it was Thursday or Friday last week. And I was going to have a conversation about it, but I was like, it's a bit random, man. People really want to know about that? Well, apparently so, because the news has come out. Wes, you're saying it down there. Yeah. So, according to Samuel Luckhurst, well, I say according to Samuel Luckhurst, it's not Samuel Luckhurst who has found the story, but it's been reported because he's chased it up. Apparently, Amorim and Delo are related. All right. And this was the article that was on Reddit. I think it was just over a week ago. Carlos, Jose, and Julia Delo, 3 siblings born in France, who were celebrated circus artists at the end of the 19th century. Didn't you know? Go down here. In 2025, an ironic twist of fate brought together two cousins, both great-grandsons of Carlos Dalot, both Ruben Amorim and Diogo Dalot, are both great-grandsons of a bloke called Carlos Dalot, who was a 19th century celebrated artist, circus artist. So they're great-grandsons. Does that make them cousins? How does it work? What's their relation to each other then? Does that make them cousins? Is that what it says there? Great-grandsons? Oh, no idea. Someone down there, Rev, you went for the straight one. Circus artist explains to low. Easy. Come on. That's on a plate with a knife and fork for you there. It's just funny. If you feel like you can hear the EastEnders theme tune starting as soon as you hear that. Third cousins? I hate when you start getting into that. Cousin, second cousin, third removed, and then, well, he went out of her, whatever that. No, his niece and nephew over that. Stop that. Distant cousins. Anyway, this has come from sort of a gene website from Portugal. As I said, I wasn't going to mention this last week because I thought it felt like a funny story more than anything else. But now it's being reported by Luckhurst, which doesn't exactly give it massive amounts of credibility. But let's see what happens and whether Ruben Amorim's asked about it. I mean, I'm not sure why Ruben Amorim would know anyway. Has anyone ever done one of those? What are they called? Like the ancestry things. I think I got one for my mum for Christmas once. No one famous there. Shame. Right. Last 2 minutes of the show. As always, please fire in your comments and your questions. Anything you want to ask me that I haven't spoken about. If I'm going to go for the main headline for today's show, it's probably going to be this interview with Jason Wilcox, which I want to cover for my lunchtime video. And as I said earlier, Andy Mitten is saying that when it comes to Elliot Anderson and Manchester United, he's well positioned. As I said, I don't know whether that means Elliot Anderson is well positioned to join United or whether United are well positioned to make a move for him. But he's certainly on United's list. I think what we saw in the summer with Cunha and Mbumo is going to be a repeated strategy. Probably in 3 consecutive seasons. First season, sort the goal scoring. Bring in as much attacking quality as you can from the Premier League. Second summer, focus on midfield. Bring in as much quality as you can in midfield in the Premier League. Try and find the next Kante, the next Rice. And I really do think that Elliot Anderson falls into that category. Not to say that he's going to come, but that he's going to grow and develop and be as influential as those players. But in terms of the top levels where you've got your Rice and Caicedo, where they sit, who's on the tier just below them? You probably put Baleba, you probably put Wharton, you probably put Anderson. And maybe there's another couple that you would put in there. You could mention Onana at Villa if you wanted to. What the Premier League midfielders do you think could fall into that category, that tier 2 category? Random. Jiu-Jitsu saying, how's the leg going? Thank you very much for asking, dude. It's just, the leg is what it is now. There isn't really a recovery process. I'm not going to gain anything more. My whole leg's in a completely and utterly wrong position now. The surgeon has fixed the problem that he had and created 7 other ones. That's the way I look at it. I don't think I'm better off. I definitely know I'm not better off from the surgery. And instead of it helping me, it's given me 18 months of setbacks. And now I've got to try and get used to the fact that everything is in the complete wrong position. I can hardly run anymore. And I couldn't exactly run loads beforehand, but it's really snookered me. Not snookered me, but given me a long old process. Guimaraes, there's a good shout. Hayden Hackney doesn't play in the Prem. James Garner? No, I'm not sure. I'd go James Garner. Paqueta? Maybe. Alex, do you think Napoli could impact United's January window? Well, they're not going to pay for Højlund on a permanent deal until the summer. They could ask for Manu on loan. Could be a possibility. Is Garner available on a free? Don't know. Anyway, probably during the international break, we can have a little bit more conversation around midfield, overhauls, who can be signed. We've already covered, you know, Anderson and Baleba. We've got the Wharton video coming up next, and we can do an overall opinion video on that too. But thank you all for tuning in. As always, please do drop a like on the video. Lunchtime video is probably going to be on the Jason Wilcox interview. I'll pull out some other quotes and comments and just run through an analysis of that. So I think it's a good interview. All right. Appreciate all of you. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow morning. And lunchtime today, obviously.